The Beyond the Fame podcast is fed by Lido Pizza. Lido Pizza never cuts corners. For menu and locations, visit LidoPizza.com. And of course, this podcast would not be possible without our longtime title sponsor, the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Upcoming featured entertainment includes Ron White's additional second show January 24th and the Reagan Years on January 31st. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Michael and Kevin Bacon bring their band, the Bacon Brothers, to Maryland Hall in Annapolis, Maryland tomorrow night. So it's time for another flashback episode from our handful of chats over the years. This time our conversation from the Birchmere in 2019. Thanks so much for calling in, fellas. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
All right, so like we said, it's the Shake Your Ground tour. I know you guys have played the Birchmere a bunch. What are we working with set list wise? If people came to the Birchmere in past years, is this stuff from your 2018 album, the self-titled one, Bacon Brothers, or is there anything new you're mixing in there? You know, what can we hear on the set list?
Well, this is Michael speaking.
Go ahead, Mike.
we have a brand new song coming out tomorrow called Play, so that'll be in the set list, and we actually have a pretty thick backlog of stuff that we haven't necessarily worked up yet, but hopefully we can grab some time. We're going to have a rehearsal in July, and I'm hoping we can get 3 or 4 new ones on by the time the tour really gets going.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit more about Play. You said it's coming out tomorrow. Well, I guess by the time this airs, it'll be freshly out. Tell me about the song Play. I can't wait to hear it. What's it about?
Play is a song about the answer to the question that I get time and time again, which is how do you stay married for so long? And it's a question that, I'm kind of tired of. And sometimes when people ask you that, they say, it must be a lot of work. You guys must really have to work at it, Marriage or relationships, they're a lot of work. And I say, not really. It's really more about play. And so that's really what the song is. It's a kind of a funky response to that question.
So you mean the idea of work and play? It's you make sure you play with your partner more than just work. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Okay. Well,
exactly.
So yeah. Kevin, what's the secret to marriage? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to give you that. Thanks so much for distilling that down. Yeah, just play, baby. Talk about the venue itself. So I know you guys said, Michael and I were talking off the air here that you've played there a million times. But what makes it so cool? Is it the intimacy, or dish on the venue a little bit?
Well, there's a couple of things going on with the Birchmere. First of all, if you have a club that's been around for as long as that has, the audience almost gets trained for what kind of audience response works in that place. So what you get is a really great listening audience, but also pretty rowdy, and they kind of follow along wherever we want to go. The other thing is it has an amazing sound system, a great monitor engineer, great staff, food is good. They treat us really well. We're there for 3 nights, which is a real gift when you're touring. Because usually you're staying everywhere on one night, but if you can stay in the same place for 3 days, it's really nice. So it's just pretty much the best club I've ever played, and I'm glad they're still doing business, and we're happy to be back there.
Awesome. Yeah, it really is a special place to go watch music. Fans and DC people are really lucky. It's like an old jewel here in town. Take me back to the beginning. I know, because I know your guys' backstory a little bit, but if our listeners, maybe know you guys from your other work, but maybe haven't been following the band a long time, give them the backstory of you guys grew up in Philly, right? I think Michael was how many years older, and just how
I'm 9 years older.
9 years older, yeah. Did you guys play music growing up in the brothers in the brotherly love town? Or, how did this whole thing actually form as a band?
Well, it actually has a little bit of a Philly connection because we started writing together when I was a kid, because Michael was already off on a successful music career, and he was playing in bands and playing in and around and recorded stuff and was playing in Philly. And, of course, you look up to your older brother. So I started writing songs in my head and having lyrics, and I would bring them to him, and he would kind of helped me form them into songs. So we started demoing some of those, and we probably had written about 10 songs together over the years. And in the 90s, a friend of ours heard the demo. We had both long since left Philly. I mean, both of us, I guess, left Philly in the 70s. But in the early 90s, our friend heard the demo and said, "Why don't you come down to Philly and do a Bacon Brothers show, quote unquote?" And so basically, we became the Bacon Brothers. The Bacon Brothers wasn't really our idea; it was our friend Harry's idea. And we played the one show down in Philly, and then somebody kind of called up and said, "Hey, would you play another one?" And that's just kept rolling on from there.
Awesome. How do you guys split the load on stage? I know you guys can both sing, you can both strum, but what do you think each of you brings? You know, what does Michael? Well, actually, answer it about each other. That's probably the best way. So let's ask Michael. What does Kevin bring to the live stage persona? And then follow it up, Kevin. I want you to say what you think Michael is. You know, what's his element there?
Well, the most important thing is he's a wonderful songwriter and a great singer and a great partner. And songwriting is a very strange thing because it's self-revelatory, and it's always interesting when we'll go through something on the road, some experience of some kind, and a couple of weeks later, all of a sudden, I'll hear Kevin singing a song and say, "Oh yeah, I was there when that happened." So that's pretty neat. The other thing that's nice is Kevin's really a front man. He's a natural-born front man. I'm really not. To me, playing music on stage is more of a learned experience. So I think what you do is you get brothers who are really, who are brothers and close, but really very different. And I think people like the idea that we're not kind of clone. We're not Milli Vanilli. We're, Kevin kind of does his thing and I do mine. And I think that we collaborate with each other on stage in a really good way. Plus, we have a wonderful band, and they can kind of go wherever we want them to go.
Kevin, do you have a take on what you each bring to it?
Yeah, well, Michael is again a great songwriter, and a fantastic singer. He's the guy on stage that sings in tune, which is always helpful, and he has a really, really, really vast kind of musical knowledge. He can compose, he can write, and he has an extremely good understanding of all kinds of harmony and counterpoint and all these things that are way beyond my skill set. And so in the when you see the show, as he said, I'm a little bit more of a sort of front man kind of show off, and then the real, the musicianship comes from him and the rest of the players in the band. And Mike's going back and forth between acoustic guitar and different kind of finger picking styles, and then electric guitar and cello and ukulele, and so it's I think that as is the case with any kind of band where you have two different people, there's a lot of people that will sort of relate to him and his sensibility more, and some people that'll relate to my sensibility more. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
And just now, in both of your answers, you both mentioned that the other brother. You said they were great songwriters. You've done multiple albums with so many songs. Michael, what is your favorite song that you guys have written?
Well, I would have to say it's this song we wrote a long time ago, maybe even before we put the band together, called "Only a Good Woman." And a lot of times in a lot of the bands that I've been with in my career, you can play a gig and it's not going so well, but if you have that one song that people really like, you can kind of resurrect your set from the doom. And this song is called "Only Good Woman," and we wrote it together, and it has about a zillion words, and it's really funny, and it's really true, and we believe it. And it's still in the set, not every night, but when we really want people to have a good time, we'll stick that out there. It's a great song.
Kevin, do you agree that that's your best, or is there another, hidden gem or something that you're like, no, we must have on the set every night?
No. We don't. No, and we don't play Only a Good Woman every night. But not really. Mm-mm. No. I mean, there's things that are fun for different sorts of reasons. I mean, we have this thing that we were playing a song of Mike's called 36 Cents, and we've been playing it for a long time, and then we decided to try to play it in sort of in an unplugged kind of way. Mm-hmm. And then somebody came up with this. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of like a little additional ending to the song. And all of a sudden, the song that we've been playing for years became super fun to play again. So I always look forward to that one just because it's people would really enjoy it.
Yeah, what happens is there's an instrumental part which is pretty technically difficult, and then after the song ends, we sort of have a false ending, and then we go into the lick again, but twice as fast, and it's just I'm barely able to keep up with it, and it's a real challenge every night to try to chase that tempo of that crazy lick.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
Do either of you guys have a turn of phrase, a lyric, whether it's a irregular rhyme or a perfect rhyme, whatever, that that you slap the desk and you're like, damn, I'm damn proud of that one.
Oh, a lyric that we've written?
Yeah, lyrically, yeah. Is there something that you want us to like as we're leaving the Birchmere? We're like, damn, that's a clever turn of phrase right there.
I'll have one. Mine's called "Don't Leave the Lava Lamp On for Me." And you can imagine what that's about. I'm not a fan of the 60s, so that's what that song's about.
Gotcha. Is there when you guys were first forming, and even through the years, is there any other bands in a certain genre that you guys like have always like let's pattern our own stage after this, or let's pattern our sound after that? What were sort of your idols growing up in terms of music?
Our first record was called Foro Soko, which is folk rock soul country, and just kind of like a term that we came up with. And I think that it's was kind of a joke because we have had so many different kinds of influences, and there's two of us, and there's an age difference, and so Mike's different influences are different than my influences, and then it's so many years, and then you add to that all the players in the band and the different stuff that they've been kinds of music that they've played. So we're really kind of like all over the map. But I guess if we had to pick one band, we would say the band, only because the band, had a similar kind of instrumentational thing, and mostly did kind of organic sounds with B3 organ, sometimes used some horns, and went between electric guitars and acoustic guitars, and always had great grooves and an incredible drummer, and what I mean, that kind of stuff is the type of thing that we really aspire to.
Take a load off Fanny. Man, all right. Well, you guys have to redub Easy Rider with your guys, songs on there, and no one will know the difference. All right. Well, speaking of movies, Kevin has a lot of roles, but a lot of people might not know, Michael, you won an Emmy for the score for TV's Kennedys. Take me into how awesome it was. Well, not only to be recognized, I know awards are just, throwaway things sometimes, and artists don't really care about them so much, but just, to be recognized and, what you were going for in writing that score. That's pretty awesome, man.
Well, it was first of all, the film itself the TV show did really well, which sort of drags a lot of the contributors along with it. But it was 4 hours, and a lot of the work I did was these long-form documentaries where there might be 30 pieces of music per hour. So if you multiply that by 4, well over 100 cues that have to be written and approved and produced and edited and all that kind of stuff. As far as the award goes, it's nice because it immediately defines me as having won something, but I have to say at the same time that it doesn't really get you any work, and I'm proud of having it, but to me that was in the past, and I'm ready for my next one.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I know the awards really don't really matter anything. So I've promised myself I'd limit myself to one movie question for you, Kevin, just to wrap it up here, so my listeners don't kill me. But do you have a role? Not even talking awards here, because I know you won the Globe for Taking Chance. But do you have a role you are most proud of all the genres? Do you have a personal role where you look back on and say, I did my best work there?
Not really. First off, I mean, I have to say I'm not spending a lot of time in the rearview mirror. I try to. I haven't gotten to the point in my life where I'm ready to just sort of look back. I'm looking down the road, and I'm hoping that the best part is in front of me.
I love it. But there's nothing for a cool radio soundbite that you had at least a good on-set time doing or anything like that?
Well, I had a great time making the movie Diner. We were young guys and down in Baltimore having a lot of fun, and I had a great time making Mystic River. Those were both really, really fun experiences. It's strange because there's the making of it, and then there's the actual film itself, and those are two different things. The memory of it and the actual what actually ended up on the screen. And sometimes you can have a great time and make a lousy movie, and sometimes you can have a lousy time and make a great movie. You never know.
Right. Well, thanks for all the movie memories and also the music memories now, everybody. So we'll cut you loose, but thanks so much again, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Hear my other handful of conversations with the Bacon Brothers in the archives at BeyondTheFamePodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.